This little video is going to be about the Chariot. When you're looking at all the cards, I think when this card pulls up, it's the less obvious. And what I mean by the less obvious is because we look at the card and there's so many things going on. It's not as obvious as the death card, we know that this is the end of something and the beginning of something new. We see that the sun is rising, that kind of obvious. Or when we have the Lovers card, we know that this can be about partnerships, this can be about romance, this can be about choices, that kind of thing. But when we look at this card, I know for me, whenever I pulled this card, I was like, oh, great. This card again, what do you do with this? Somebody would ask a question what is my purpose in life? And this card would come up and you're like, oh, well, what in the world, what does this mean? So what I did, I jotted down a few things that I want to talk about. I'm going to try to go as quick as possible for the sake of the video. But, okay. So I think what we can do is we can do something with the title. So the title is the Chariot, and I looked that up in the dictionary. The Chariot is a two-wheeled horse-drawn vehicle used in warfare and racing. So just from the title, I think we can understand that this card is about movement. That makes it more obvious, and then we can kind of start to use our intuition and figure out, well, what kind of movement, that kind of thing. So that kind of breaks one of the barriers. It looks like, just from looking at the card, we can tell that he has armor. It looks like that he's coming from a city in the background. There's two sphinxes, one is black, one is white, but they don't seem to be moving. They're not carrying, they're just kind of sitting there. And that can be really complicated, just because there's so much symbolism going on. So because he's coming from a city and he has armor, he looks well decorated. His little chariot that he's in seems... It's like he's protected, I guess, if that's kind of how you want to look at it. He seems very well off. So, for instance, if somebody were to be if somebody was going for a job promotion, and then this card pulls up to the table, then you could say, well, you have everything that you need, or keep going forward, or things are going to look good for you. If it's reversed, then it means that you really don't have enough experience. Something along the lines of that. Another thing that you could kind of think about, and this kind of relates to technology. So he didn't build the Chariot. So what he's doing is he's using things around him. He's using equipment in this, or whatever, however you want to word it. But he's using things around him, and I think in today's day and age, we could relate that to technology. If somebody asked a question about, well, how is my business going to go? Or how can I improve my business? You could say something about technology. You could say something about creating a website for whatever the business is. You could talk about getting into using a program to run the website, to drive the website, something kind of along the lines of that. Once you really start to dive deep into it and you really start to think about it, the card can mean so many things. But in the beginning, I know when I was trying to learn how to read this card, it was so confusing. You just really kind of have to take whatever the question is and then try to find a way, and I wrote down some major points: speed, movement, and adaptability. And those three things first come to mind. You could probably think of more, but for the sake of the video, I only have TikTok only allows me 5 more minutes, where I can make a second video, I guess. But so when you talk about adaptability, and this happened to me like 2 months ago, somebody asked, well, what is my purpose in life? And then this card pulls up. I think what it's trying to say is that your purpose is to move around. It's to learn how to be a leader. It could mean you're meant to go places. You're meant to experience new things. You're meant to learn to adapt into new environments, meet new people. Because this card is, again, it's about movement more than anything. That could be a talking point if you're a reader, or if you just want to know something more about the Chariot. A couple of other things that you could probably gather from this, I guess, if that's what you're thinking. If you think of it as like, and this just kind of came to my head, if you think about like you're driving a car, that could be like a purpose-driven objective. You know that when you're in a car, like you already have well, I would hope that if you're in a car, you would know where you're going, or you know that you have to be at this place by that time, or you're motivated because of traffic or street signs, whatever. You know that you have to get from point A to point B. That could be another something that you could relate to, whatever the question is about movement, about getting somewhere from point A to point B, about keep pushing forward, that kind of thing. So instead of like just kind of thinking, well, he's really not moving in the card, like there's no sign of movement. But I mean, like I said, I think from the title, the Chariot, I think we can kind of open our minds up to realizing that it is definitely a card about movement. Those are just a couple of things. I kind of want to go through the whole major arcana and kind of I already have my own interpretations of it, but I want to go back and like really, really dive deep into it, into a whole new perspective, and come on here and talk to you guys about it. But that's what I got for the Chariot. I don't know what card I'll do next, but if you are a reader, or if you're just learning tarot, or if somebody pulled the Chariot on you, or you're trying to read for yourself, whatever, you might want to take some of those into perspective whenever this card pulls up, or if you want to meditate on it, whatever. All right, guys, till the next video.